In 2009, Yeats won a fourth consecutive Ascot Gold Cup, thus breaking the record for the number of wins in Europe's premier staying event. At the age of 8, he also joined Merriman as the oldest Entar to win the Gold Cup. Just how good Yeats was is hard to gauge. The horses he beat at the Royal Meeting were far from vintage, but for many, he is a staying legend. Yeats is the great of our time. He brings light as only the great dare to bring light to the issueless predicament of existence. Landscapes and horses were Jack Butler's thing. Irish landscapes, Irish horses. And more than 50 years after those prophetic Beckett words, how appropriate Yeats's equine namesake should prove similarly uplifting. So sit back and enjoy the story of Yeats, the people's racehorse, magnificent specimen, multiple Group 1 hero, galloping millionaire, and Sport of Kings history maker.
Yeats now pulling 2, 3 next clear, 4 Gold Cups, straight 8.
Go on, Johnny, go on, Johnny. Look at the crowd all shouting for him. And he acknowledges the horse, of course. Yeats is the hero of the hour.
Yeats was born at Coolmore on the 23rd of April 2001, having been bred by Baronstown Stud and Orpendale. Coolmore's sales director David O'Loughlin remembers the moment well.
From the start, there was something really special about him. You know, even though he was a relatively late-born foal, you would never know it. He was just head and shoulders above most of the other foals around here. Good in all the foals as he was, it's hard to believe that he could go on and achieve so much. His mare Lindenville, we knew her well. She'd been to Saddler's Wells a few times, and she went back to him once more after Yeats was born. She went and foaled one more time and had a filly called Magnolia Lane, and that was the last foal she had. David and Diane Nagel of Barnestown are great supporters of Coolmore, and they've bred a lot of good horses like Generous and Oratorio and Imagine and Johannesburg, horses like that. And they always send the majority of their yearlings to the sales and have consistently been among the leading vendors year in, year out. And the plan was always for Yeats to be sold at the yearling sales. However, at the beginning of his yearling prep, he suffered an injury, which, although minor, meant that he would have to miss his day at the sales. In hindsight, this was a real stroke of luck, as the Nagels then had no choice but to race him, and they raced him in partnership with Mrs. Magner.
Yeats would be trained by Aidan O'Brien, the Ballydoyle maestro, and carry the navy colours of Mrs. John Magnier. He was a horse who initially required patience, but he would reward his connections in ways they could only imagine. 2 years and 5 months after his birth, Yeats finally hit the racetrack. The Curragh chosen for his debut, and the race a maiden over a mile. He was, of course, bred to excel, and excel he did under Mick Kinnan.
It's Yeats in the lead, being followed on the outside by Heratilla. These are being followed by Market Watcher and El Dorado, and after these Stray Cat Strut, with on the outside of these Katarna, but it's Yeats who's clear as they race inside the final furlong. Yeats and Michael Kinnan going to record a quick opening double for Aidan O'Brien, and the jockey, as Michael Kinnan, has a comfortable win on Yeats. Good racing debut from this one.
Stamina already appeared Yeats' forte, and O'Brien said he's a beauty and was a proper horse all the way. He'll take the Galileo route as a 3-year-old, the Ballystack Stakes, the Derrenstown Derby trial, and then the Derby. No need for Aidan to add the word Epsom. O'Brien was not kidding. After that one run at 2, Yeats did indeed return in the 2004 Group 3 Ballysacks at Leopardstown, this time ridden by Jamie Spencer.
It's Yeats going to make every inch of the running under Jamie Spencer, out in front of Dameroon and Lord Admiral, and on the run up towards the finish, Yeats is going to make a winning reappearance in winning the Ballysack Stakes in good style. Yeats and Jamie Spencer score
And while his time was nearly 20 seconds slower than standard, he scored with ridiculous ease on a step up to 10 furlongs. He is a lovely, big, long-striding, uncomplicated horse, said O'Brien, which he showed once again in May, back over the same course and distance and again under Spencer in the Derranstown, just as O'Brien had promised.
Swing in with over 2 to race. Yeats out in front. Barati, Medicinal, Relaxed Gesture closes on the outside. But with over a furlong and a half to race, Yeats leads by almost 3 lengths. Barati, Relaxed Gesture runs on down the outside. Yeats the leader now from Relaxed Gesture, second, Medicinal and Barati. Inside the final furlong, Yeats with Relaxed Gesture running on well on the outside. Yeats on the far side by a couple of lengths. Relaxed Gesture trying to close. 50 yards to race. Yates driven out, going on to win the Derranstown Stud Derby trial. Yates wins it.
So now Yates had a Group 2 success to his name, and Epsom Glory appeared his for the taking. But injury was to strike, and just days before the Premier Classic he was withdrawn due to a stubborn muscle problem between his hip and backbone on the near-hand side. Yates was sidelined, Ballydoyle frustrated, but the wait would be worth it. That wait was over in May 2005. Yates was back, but he needed the run after the layoff and suffered defeat under Kieran Fallon at the Curragh. It wouldn't be the only time he would blow hard on a seasonal debut.
It's Corgus and Pat Smullen going to score in the presidential colours. Wins in good style, followed home by Yates. Wolftone is third and Latino Magic 4.
The improvement from that run was dramatic. On his next start, Yates was thrust into Group 1 company for the Coronation Cup at Epsom. Fallon was at his best, and the combination defied a Japan Cup hero in Alcaced, a Prix du Cadran winner in Rescape, a dual Coronation Cup victor in Warsan, and a Champion Stakes heroine in Pride.
Epsom wouldn't be the easiest track in the world because you're climbing for quite a long time and then you're starting to run downhill to descent. And then you have a long straight, which the last 150 yards, then, you know what I mean, that's where you can, if you kick too soon, your horse is going to die, or you can leave it too late. And I luckily on the day I got it right. But he's such a handy horse. He was a complete athlete and so well balanced. And, you know, he got the job done for me. But he's such an easy horse to pace as well. And he done it all, you know. But he made my job really easy. But I really enjoy that ride.
On the back of his Epsom glory, Yates would head to France and the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud, but he ran an absolute shocker, sparking worries that his problems were far from a thing of the past. He also went down in the Irish St Leger behind Collier Hill. It was his first try, though, at 1 3/4 miles, and the way he plugged on suggested stamina really was his forte. Yates raced once more in 2005, finishing down the field in the Canadian International at Woodbine. Not exactly the preparation most would choose for Royal Ascot 2006. But the Berkshire track would indeed be his next stop. Stepped up to 2.5 miles in the Group 1 Ascot Gold Cup.
And away they jump. They're off for the 2006 Gold Cup.
We didn't know for sure whether he'd get the trip. And I had to kind of try and ride a racing race. And he just took me there, actually took me to the front sooner than I really wanted to get there. Because we weren't quite sure whether he'd stay, you know, and the more you preserve, the better chance you have of getting the trip.
But it was Yates that took over, entering the final quarter mile. Willie lasted out.
And he just oozed there with so much confidence, and he went away and, you know, he won easy, you know.
Entering the final furlong, it's Yates by 3 or 4 lengths under Kieran Fallon. Distinction and Rescape giving chase. Then back and forth is High Action. But Yates, a Group 1 winner in last year's Coronation Cup. He stamps his class and Yates wins the Gold Cup.
In the immediate aftermath, the Melbourne Cup was mentioned, but Yates would first land a Goodwood Cup under Michael Kinnan, and with Fallon back up, chased home Castoria in the Irish St Leger.
A furlong to go. It's Yates in front. Here comes the challenge from the mare. Castoria on the outside. 100 yards left to go. Yates is digging deep the far side, but Castoria claiming him. Castoria on the near side puts her neck in front, and Castoria causes a boil over in the Irish St Leger.
It was a costly defeat for Yates's punters, being sent off at 2 to 7. But O'Brien was unfazed, and Australia did indeed beckon. He was forced to carry a welter burden in the race that stops a nation, but was sent off a leading fancy all the same, only to find the slow pace in the middle of the event against him.
A point over the each-way line, Yeats and Torquay sharing Melbourne Cup favouritism.
Starter has them there away, and Yeats missed the start by a length and a half. Yeats pours the pressure on at the 800. He goes to the lead from Zabit.
There was a glimmer of hope when he went on over 4 furlongs out, but he could never get away from his rivals in a race won by the Japanese superstar Delta Blues.
Delta Blues and Pilfrock, they come to the line. Oh, very close. In front then of Sipping and Bartoon, Landon Stars, Yeats, Mandela.
Nevertheless, Yeats was now confirmed as a top-class stayer, and O'Brien meticulously set about plotting his next campaign. Back in action on April the 29th, 2007, Yeats took the Vintage Crop Stakes at Navan under Shamey Heffernan, and he'd also romp home in the Savile Beg at Leopardstown under the same rider.
They're off. And jumping out smartly between horses and sent on by Declan McDonough is Tartouche, with Yeats moving up on the outside to move within a length of the leader. They're closely followed by Dryandra, who's in third, Alpha Jet 4. Making the descent down now towards the final 2, and Yeats moves through between horses, Valentina Guest and Clara Allen. Towards the outside, Reform Act and Cool Touch just in behind. Racing now to the final furlong, and Yeats hits the front, goes on by a couple of lengths. Reform Act tries to go after him in second. Then Cool Touch staying on the inside of Clara Allen. They're beginning to run now inside the last 200 yards, and it's Yeats who's stretching on now under Shamey Heffernan and racing up towards the finish. It's the Gold Cup winner, Yeats, striding away to win by 4 to 5 lengths. Yeats lands the odds in consummate style.
The first step on what could be another very rewarding campaign for Yeats. He's outclassed the opposition as expected in the Vintage Crop Stakes.
And heading for the home straight, Clara Allen is the leader, from Yeats in second, King and Waiting is third. Mutakaram 4 and then Sacrosanct, and on the approach to the turn, Yeats now swoops up on the outside of Clara Allen to go to the front. King and Waiting and Mutakaram followed by Sacrosanct and into the straight. It's the Gold Cup winner, Yeats, now quickens on to go on 3 lengths in front, chased now by Mutakaram, Clara Allen, King and Waiting and Sacrosanct, but on the run to the final furlong, that's Yeats the leader, chased by Mutakaram in second. They're clear of Clara Allen and racing now up towards the finish. It's Yeats and Shamey Heffernan out in front, gonna win it by about 5 lengths as they run towards the finish.
The Savile Beg victory set Yeats up perfectly for Ascot. Michael Canam was once again on board, and a second Gold Cup was up for grabs.
Just about all set then for the feature race of Ladies' Day and of the week here, the Gold Cup. And they're off.
Kinan remembers.
The day the ground was just chopping a little bit off the top, but Sergeant Cecil was due to be a big danger to him on the day, which didn't materialise, and Geordieland proved the biggest danger. Got into a lovely rhythm and was very happy with it. We were going probably a shade steadier than maybe I would have liked, but I was always happy and coasted through the race, and I moved when I felt it was time to go, and he asserted himself well in the straight and repelled the challenge of Geordieland.
Yeats going inside the final furlong. Geordieland and the Miracle, however, are closing on him as they go inside the last. All of a sudden, Yeats has a battle, and Geordieland goes towards the far side. Yeats weaving around in front, but has too many guns for them. Too much class. Back-to-back Gold Cups.
So Yeats had 2 Gold Cups, but no Irish St Ledger. Fallon had enough messing about and simply would not accept defeat as the pair now bid to put the record straight.
And they're racing. Good even dispatch too down to the inside. Moores Wells, one of the first away. Yeats is out there too in the early stages. McCorville not that far away. Out wider then in the pink colours is Scorpion, who takes up a very prominent position. Then on the outside, Mighty, and further back then the Whistling Teal, followed by Bellamy Key, who's settling third last from Step Dancer. and a length and a half last is Gallistic. Out deeper on the track then is Yeats, called on for an effort from Moorswells, the orange cap the inside. Well back then is Mighty, who's still sticking on fairly well, but Scorpion the one to catch as they race up with inside the two now. Scorpion's got about 3 in front. Yeats is trying hard but now runs in behind. Further back then is Moorswells, and they're clear of McCorville and Mighty. Racing up inside the furlong, there's 2 stablemates. It's Scorpion the far side. Near side is Yeats. Only a neck separates them. Yeats, the dual Ascot Gold Cup winner, wearing down the Scorpion, his stablemate, and Yeats gets up for a famous win.
It was third time lucky for Yeats in the Irish field, St. Ledger, to get his head in front, and the very first St. Ledger for his trainer Aidan O'Brien, saddling a 1-2. Yeats from Scorpion in the 2007 final classic of the year, the Irish field St. Ledger.
Yeats would be seen once more in 2007, finishing third in the Prix de Cadran, but was back for another vintage crop in 2008.
They're off. And Lunaeus pops away with Yeats on the inside. These are closely followed by Alfie Flitz, Red Maloney, Nix Nikita, and Scotch Bonnet towards the outside. Swinging in for home now, and Lunaeus is the leader from Yeats. Red Maloney on the outside. These 3 in front of Alfie Flitz, and then comes Nix Nikita and Scotch Bonnet, passing the 3 and racing downhill, 2.5 to go. Lunaeus from Yeats, Red Maloney, Alfie Flitz making ground on their outside, tracked by Nix Nikita as they race with 1.5 furlongs to go now. Almost 4 in line. Yeats, Red Maloney, Alfie Flitz the near side. Nix Nikita just in behind them. Red Maloney hits the front. Alfie Flitz the near side. Yeats up the inner. They're racing inside the last 200 yards. Yeats battling back on the inside of Red Maloney and Alfie Flitz, and Yeats is just gaining the upper hand now as they run up to the finish. Yeats is going to win it for Shemmy Heaven in second. Red Maloney.
That put him spot on in his bid for a 3rd Gold Cup.
There's the champ going for his 3rd victory in this consecutive victory. It's last done by Sugaro in 1977.
Johnny Murtagh now had the ride, and the pair proved a match in heaven.
Yes, I was a little bit nervous before the race because it was the first time I had ever ridden Yeats, so he went to the start well. I thought Coastal Path, the French challenger, was going to be the main danger.
And they're off and racing in the 2008 Gold Cup. Le Miracle in the noseband with Final Mente towards the inside. These 2 the first to go on. Coastal Path towards the outside. The horse with the white face and the pink cap, the French Raider. Yates just slotting in behind Coastal Path.
When we jumped out, I was able to slot directly right in behind Coastal Path. I was very happy with my position. And although Yeats was, he was travelling really well, I would have liked him to be a bit more relaxed in the race. He was taking me along, and Aidan says to me, just get him relaxed the first half of the race and use that big rhythm when he gets by, down by Swinley Bottom. So the race went very good for me as they travelled well. When I got to Swinley Bottom, I moved them out from behind Coastal Path.
Yeats moves up on the outside of Le Miracle, and also Coastal Path, and Johnny Murtagh riding very positively on Yeats here, but Coastal Path is going with him. They race towards the final turn then, and the front 2 in the market are the front 2 in the race. Coastal Path on the inside of Yeats, and Geordie Land now cruises through into 3rd place, going well as he often does.
I knew Geordie Land would be travelling behind us, stalking us, and as we kicked off the last bend, it was just me and Coastal Path, and it was going to be a good battle, but Geordie Land loomed up sides as Shane Kelly looked pretty confident.
Coastal Path the far side, Yeats in the centre, Geordie Land making a big race of it, and Geordie Land just about hits the front. Yeats is fighting back.
I was in between Coastal Path and Geordie Land, and I pulled my stick into my right hand, and as soon as I got up Geordie Land at the furlong pole, it was only going to be win-win.
Yeats gets back to the lead from Geordie Land and Coastal Path, and Yeats now pulling 2, 3 next clear, and Yeats storms clear, and it's 3 Gold Cups for Yeats.
The King rules supreme. He has hung on to his title and is crowned once again King of the Stayers, notching up 3 back-to-back victories in the Gold Cups.
He's an unbelievable horse. He has great presence and he has everything, and that's why he's around so long. And like he's not a faker. he's a true horse, you know what I mean? Everything about him is solid and true.
After Ascot, another Goodwood Cup would be his. But once again, Yeats would disappoint in the Cadran. But anyone thinking France was not for him should quickly reconsider.
And they're racing for the Group 1 Prix Royal Oak, 3,100 metres, that's just shy of 2 miles. And they turn back towards the straight now. They've got about 700 metres to cover. They're on the side of the track, and Yeats now moves up on the outside of the pacemaker, and Yeats is now sent to the front. So Yeats and Johnny Murta, Allegretto is in chase in second, Veracity and Moonstone behind those. Now the others are alive to the danger, but could it be too late? Getaway and Watar are asked to quicken up on the outside, but it's Yeats who leads by some 2-3 lengths, and do we know he stays? Yates it is, Allegretto hard ridden in second, Veracity, then Moonstone, Watar on the outside's got a massive amount to do. There's only 200 metres to race, and it's Yates who has the advantage from Allegretto. Watar eating the ground up on the outside, Bannaby towards the inside, but it's still Yates and Johnny Murta. Bannaby and Allegretto coming in chase with Veracity and Watar, but Yates is holding on in the run to the line, and Yates has done it at last in France. Yates wins it.
That Prix Royal Oak victory would have been a brilliant end to a brilliant career. But in 2009, Yeats was ready to wage war once again at the age of 8. His longevity at the top of his game was more in tandem with a national hunt performer. Could he really still take on and beat the best? Many doubted it after he fluffed his lines once again at Navan.
The three are clear of Barrandell. Yates has dropped right out of contention. They're heading for the final 200 yards now. And
it was an effort that was tame to even the most optimistic observer. But O'Brien was convinced the fire in Yates's belly was still burning bright. And on June the 18th, 2009, he would head back to Ascot to try and land an historic 4th Gold Cup.
Emotional few moments for all of his connections. He completes the line for the Gold Cup. They're all in. And off. Racing then for the Gold Cup. Hindu Kush is out very quickly and is going to adopt the front-running role. Centennial niggled along to chase. Yates quickly drops in just behind the leader.
The race went very similar to the year before. I jumped out well. I had a lovely position. And this year he really relaxed. I threw the reins at him and got him on a long rein, and got up by the winning post. He was in a great rhythm, very well in himself, very relaxed. And by the winning post, Frankie dropped in onto the one off the rail, and I sat fourth. Again down to Swinley Bottom, lovely and relaxing. And when we got to Swinley Bottom, it was just a matter of, doing what he did last. He eased him to the outside. I knew the two dangers. Geordie Land again.
Yates joins issue off the home bend and mixes it with Veracity and moves to the front for the first time. Centennial out of the Pat Guy and Geordie Land are waiting in the wings. So the man who wears the crown, Yates, kicks for one final thrust up the Ascot Straight in the Gold Cup. He found 4 lengths. Pat Guy and Geordie Land are yet to play their hands.
He hit the straight. He just seemed to know the roar of the crowd, and I think it was probably one of his greatest performances.
Yates leads by 3, entering the final furlong. Pat Guy in second. Easton Adler out wide. It's Yates trying to hold on and make history from Pat Guy. 150 yards to go, and Yates is not for catching. All class, one of the greatest stayers of all time, one of the greatest training performances of all time. 4 Gold Cups for Yates.
I must say I never felt anything like it in a race before, For a horse to do something that no other horse has done before, it was a huge achievement.
So Yates's name is now etched in racing history. 4 epic Gold Cups.
The people genuinely like this horse. So we're lucky for once that we didn't put him off the stud when he was 3 or 4.
Never seen it before. And cheered him down the track and back in, and all the way back in along. There was posters and flags for him. It was unbelievable. Jason, I've never ever seen that before. It's what it's all about, I think.
Yates raced twice more, when unplaced in another Irish St Leger, and when he bowed out with an honourable 3rd behind a Landy in the 2009 Prix de Cadran. His old legs had done enough. 8 years young, having raced for nearly 50 miles during his career. Will any horse match 4 Ascot Gold Cups? Who knows? But without doubt, Yeats is a racing legend.